A warning is expected this week by the United Nations nuclear watchdog. The International Atomic Energy Agency is expected to say that Iran is on the threshold of building a nuclear bomb. The IAEA report, or parts of the report, accuses Tehran of having the knowledge, skill, and design protocols to build its first weapon within months. I want to talk about the implications of this with Joel Rubin in Washington. He's the Director of Policy and Government Affairs for Plowshares Fund. That's a foundation that supports preventing the spread of nuclear weapons, weapons of mass destruction in general. Joel Rubin, first of all, here's what the leaks seem to indicate so far from what we're reading in the press, that Iran has conducted tests in nuclear trigger devices and has tried out designs that could fit a nuclear weapon into a warhead, and that they have been using expertise to develop this. What are you most concerned about here?
Well, thank you for having me. We certainly are concerned that Iran does seem intent on developing knowledge about a nuclear weapons program, and the IAEA report, when it's released within the next couple of days, will highlight that. But what the report does not do is provide a sort of smoking gun. It does not say that Iran has decided to make a nuclear weapon. It does not say that a nuclear weapon is imminent. So there's more information. It builds on previous IAEA reports, and certainly it's something to be concerned about and to look at, but it also does not create a doomsday scenario that many are in the media talking about these days.
Okay, so if I'm to understand you correctly, I get the feeling from what you've just said that you may not be worried about Iran's capabilities so much as the reaction to it.
Well, certainly we are worried about the capabilities, and we do believe that it's important, very important, that the IAEA understand what Iran is doing. And over time, the IAEA reports have called for greater transparency, a better understanding of the Iranian nuclear program. But American intelligence and other intelligence estimates from around the globe have argued that there has not been a decision to make a nuclear weapon in Iran, the leadership. So there is time, there is space, and there's an urgent need for additional diplomacy to pry this open and really get at what Iran is up to.
Do you think additional diplomacy can really pry Iran open?
Well, it certainly is the best route. We have aggressive sanctions right now. The international community supports these sanctions. They're broad, they're robust. They have slowed down the Iranian nuclear program and the missile program, and that's been acknowledged even by Ahmadinejad, who has said that sanctions have harmed Iran's efforts, and this is a good thing. But this is not a policy alone, and it's crucial to find areas of overlap to deal with Iran, to see what their offers are. Recently, they made an offer that Russia announced support for, some type of fuel exchange. Now, that is not welcome news here in Washington, but it is some news, and it is worth exploring. We need to figure out a way forward that does not create a new war.
You said that diplomacy has been credited with slowing down their nuclear program somewhat, but others would argue that it was really the Stuxnet computer worm cyber attack, widely thought to be launched by the Israelis and the Americans together, that slowed it down for 1 to 2 years.
There certainly is a lot of speculation about what the cause is, but international sanctions have prevented materials from being exported to Iran, materials that could be critical in the nuclear weapons program. It's also delegitimized Iran's efforts. There is broad political pressure across the globe. The U.S. and the Western allies that have been pushing for stronger sanctions at the UN have, in fact, brought Russia and China along. And this has created political pressure on Iran. And we need to remember as well that the context, the Arab Spring, the street protests a couple of years ago in Iran, these are creating new political dynamics. The Iranian leadership is in a state of flux, and that means that diplomacy, not just talking, but really trying to understand what is going on inside of Tehran to get at that leadership's decision-making, that is essential.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said recently at the United Nations that while the world was celebrating the Arab Spring, he was concerned about what he called the Islamic winter, and that was Iran getting the nuclear weapon capability that some say they are very close to. As a result, they are not denying reports that they are, cabinet is debating whether to attack Iran or not. And also that Iran's nuclear, there was that report in the New York Times yesterday, in the Sunday New York Times, which said Iran's nuclear scientists are being targeted for assassination. What's your reaction to that?
Well, the idea of a military attack on Iran is a very dangerous one, and even Israelis are split. A recent poll in Haaretz, the leading daily in Israel, cited 40% for, 40% against, and 20% undecided. 12 of 18 Israeli Defense Forces chiefs of staff, former chiefs of staff, are against it. The recent leader of the Mossad, the spy agency, said it would be stupid, Meir Dagan, to attack Iran, and he advocated for other actions. Stuxnet, of course,
Joel,
is one that's referred to.
What do they do? What does the world do if it turns out that they get their hands or develop a nuclear weapon?
Again, that is if they get a nuclear weapon, and there is time and there is space to prevent that, and the work that needs to be done in addition to the types of targeted sanctions that are underway is a more robust diplomatic move. You know, the United States and the Soviet Union stared at each other, tens of thousands of nuclear weapons pointed at each other for nearly 3 decades. We found a way to resolve that and not to have a military conflict directly with each other or to unleash those weapons. There are ways forward, and they need to be pursued. And a military option would actually be counterproductive. It would legitimize Iranian nuclear weapons aspirations in a way that we currently don't see.
All right, we'll leave it there. Joel Rubin of Plowshares Fund, thank you for joining me from Washington.
Thank you.